G'day Kryptonites, and welcome to another episode of Diary of a Crypto Noob. Today we are talking about the letters E and F. We have a few interesting things that fall under E and F, and furthermore, let's get on to it. So if you really enjoy my content and find it really helpful, or you think it could be helpful to future cryptocurrency people, please press the like, subscribe, bell button, share, tell your friends about it, tell, people that may not be into the crypto space but are interested into the crypto space, because it's getting bigger and bigger. So we want to grow this industry so that way we all make more gains, and also before it becomes less volatile. Because let's face it, as this market gets older and older, I suspect that it's going to become less volatile. There'll be more money in it. It'll be harder to move. And just on the fact that I heard something that there's this consensus out there that we're not going to go into a bear market, or we will go into a bear market, we won't go into a bear market, and all this. Let's face it, by how volatile it is going up to this bull run, you know that it's going to have a bear market. What goes up comes down. So don't be fooled by people out there saying we're never going to go. Things just don't go. Look, even the stock market that's been around for a very, very long time, it's less volatile. So the movement in there, is of only a couple of percent, whereas cryptocurrency, it's not unheard of to wake up and find your investments have gone up 30%, which, if that was happening in the stock market, oh my God, they'd be thinking all their Christmases had come at once, and the complete opposite if it went down 30%, whereas in crypto whatever, that happens, So I think the volatility within the market is a good indication to show you what to expect coming forward, knowing that it is going to have a bear market because of how much it's going up. Things don't go up that much and not come down that much, So please be careful when you see these. Look, they could be right. Small percentage could be right, but I'm telling you now that the volatility in the market is a really good indication of whether or not we are going to see a bear market. That is something that you really need to realize that if there wasn't going to be a bear market, then there wouldn't be this much volatility. Things don't moon and then just not come back down. Even Neil Armstrong came back down from the moon. So, let's face it, it's going to happen. So be careful. And the further you wait to get into the market, the riskier it's going to be. So let's get on with it. This is my E to F. This video is brought to you by the letter E and F. So let's get to it. Escrow. Escrow is when a third party holds an asset, whether it be a sum of money or property, until a particular condition is met. usually happens when one party doesn't really trust or even know the other party. So buying a house is a great way to think of this. Escrow, so when you pay your deposit, your conveyancer holds that deposit until the finalization of the contract of you buying the house or them buying the house off you. So that's just a that in a nutshell is escrow. The next we have is exchanges. Exchanges are marketplaces where you can buy and sell your cryptocurrencies. They're quite, I will talk, actually, the next video I am going to talk a little bit about exchanges, and also, just the differences. So if you I say it's crypto assets that you're buying and selling on these exchanges. And there's two different types. There's decentralized and there's centralized. So centralized are a little bit more controlled by someone else, whereas decentralized, not so much. It's very much like how the crypto assets are decentralized. There's no one there, controlling them. So, and we will talk a little bit about that too. Fiat. Fiat is a Latin word and not a French car. It means determined by authority. Or determination by authority. Example of this is the US dollar is a fiat currency. Euro is a fiat currency. Interesting. I saw on Google when I was really looking up for the wording for this, it said, is Bitcoin a fiat? And the answer was, like fiat currencies, Bitcoin is not backed by any physical commodity or precious metal. I found this really interesting, and the reason why is that it's the US dollar is a fiat currency. But knowing anything about the fiat currency, it hasn't been backed by anything since 1971 when Nixon actually was in power. Now fiat is backed by shits and giggles and hopes and dreams, really. Is backed by faith and trust in the government and hasn't been backed by gold since Nixon. So I found that my research into this was quite interesting, that it actually, in one hand, saying that that Bitcoin's not a fiat because it's not backed, but then what is fiat backed by? Because I can tell you right now that the hopes and dreams of the government and the faith and trust, personally, I don't really sort of, think, oh, well, good. I personally don't really trust fully the government, but then that's just me. Like, you might have a lot of faith in that, and, kudos to you. But I guess my understanding of fiat is that it is basically the currency that we can use to buy and sell things, and it is a newer version of what the barter system was, because what's happened as we've grown as a society. The bartering system is great in small communities, but as you get bigger and bigger, Joe down the road might not want your carrots, but you might want his potatoes, but he might want someone else's strawberries. but you don't have strawberries. So to get around this, they created this currency, and it has gone from being things like glass beads and shells and anything that is rare. Anything that is rare has in history become currency, and has roughly lasted about 95 years on average, which is kind of a bit funny, because as the government prints this, trillions and trillions of dollars, for the last year, it's really making the dollar worth less and less and less. And it's coming up to the 95-year mark. So it'll be very interesting to see whether or not currencies, our current currencies, are going to make it past that 95-year mark, and not be replaced by something a little bit more rare. So that's just something to think about when you're sort of wondering whether or not crypto is for you, and whether or not your money is better in the bank. Because every time, the more they print, the less that money is worth. So you need to, I guess, that's something to keep in mind when you've got this money sitting in your account, not doing anything, just depreciating. It is a depreciating asset. Fiat currency is depreciating asset. So keep that in mind when you've got things in your bank. And I'll also, I've got a bit of a story to tell in my next video, so stay tuned. So getting past fear, we have FOMO, fear of missing out. What this means, and it's really, really self-explanatory, but, just so that you understand exactly what it is, fear of missing out is when you see anything that goes on sale or, goes up in value, and you jump on the bandwagon. It's basically jumping on the bandwagon. So when you see, like, if you've looked into the currencies, when you see things like Dogecoin, which has just recently been pumping, there are going to be people that are going to jump on, and just because they're worried that they're going to miss out on their slice of the pie. Well, I can tell you now that what happens in this case, a lot of the time, not all of the time, but a lot of the time, people jump in at the wrong time, which is usually right near the top, just before it goes on that downward slide. And then you're sitting there holding saggy bags. I'm going to call it saggy bags because, empty bags and to me, it's, I don't believe you're going to end up holding nothing. I just think you're going to be holding not as much as you'd like to be holding. Whether it's gone down and you now, instead of having $100, you now have $50, or whether or not, you still can make that back, but you're going to have to wait now. So FOMO, do not FOMO in. Take your time, breathe, and just make sure that the coin you're jumping into isn't one that has been on a rampage of pumping for the last couple of months and is now at a dead end. So be very careful of FOMOing in. It's never a good thing. Next we have fork. Fork is that you'll hear about people talk about hard forks and soft forks and that sort of thing, and I will get more into the difference of those later. But a fork is a update pretty much to the currency. It changes the rules of the actual, or the coding slightly of the crypto asset. Just like there's the biggest one that's out there at the moment that's being talked about is the Ethereum upgrade. So that is basically what it entails, and it does change things for not just for the people who are buying it, but it can also change things for the people who are mining it, which, as I said, we'll get into all this later. So if you don't understand some of the wording now, it's okay. All I want to do is give you a brief roundabout way of so that when you do hear these words, you can go, oh, okay, I kind of get where they're coming from. A fork is not something you're going to find in your cutlery drawer. It is an update or an upgrade to the system. So, and then the differences will be whether or not it's a hard fork or a soft fork. And we're not talking about a metal fork or a plastic fork. So the last of all that I want to talk about is FUD. I did mention this in one of my earlier videos, but FUD is fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Now, you will see on sorry, I'm just getting a bit of water. You will see that someone will come out, Biden or India or Turkey. I think Turkey's one that's actually decided that they're going to ban cryptocurrency. Ethereum's going to drop and go back to $500. These are all FUD. These are creating scaremongering tactics. That's basically what it is. Scaremongering tactics. Some FUD out there may be real, but majority of FUD out there is just to lower the price so that the people who are doing the FUD can get in at a lower price. And then you'll generally see that these sort of people who are doing this sort of thing, that are putting out there the FUD, they'll go, oh, Bitcoin or Ethereum, they're really bad, they're going to drop, we're going to ban them, whatever. And what will happen is they'll buy up big once it hits, when people drag out their money thinking, oh God, it's going to die. And then there'll be people out there who'll see it drop and go, oh my God, I've got to get my money out, and they'll pull it out too. It'll drop a bit further. And then the people that have made the FUD will generally buy up, making the price go back up. And generally when you go, oh, that's going back up, you put your money in, and all of a sudden what cost you $100 now costs you $150. So just be careful with FUD. It's not always true. There are some FUD out there that you keep it into the back of your mind, okay? Because these things will actually make, can come to light. I guess the truest FUD that's been out there has been the XRP, SEC. SEC's been investigating XRP, Ripple. And that is true. That is what's happening. or that's what has been happening. But it will get sorted out, and it's going to be depending on whether or not you want to have your money into a coin that has all this sort of negative FUD around it. I personally don't hold any XRP because I like to hold stuff that has use case, and I also like to hold things that maybe not so much into the negative spotlight. But that's just me, okay? So that was my last, FUD was my last thing, and I really hope that you got some information out of this. Like, subscribe, bell button, share. Let's grow this channel, because I really want to make this, I want to give this a go. I want this to work, and I hope you want this to work too. And if you like to see my rosy face, yeah, get me out there. And hopefully I'll see you on the flip side. Okay? See you later. Bye-bye.